Hi friends! Today we're going to do a lovely quick little feel-good flow and follow it up with a sound bowl meditation. There's going to be lots of opportunities for grounding, an emphasis on that, and also an emphasis on opening, particularly heart opening, and you get to decide when you do each and how much you do. So we'll just kind of all pick our own journeys. It's kind of a busy day in my neighborhood. There's kind of trucks going in, and looks like it may start raining soon, so there'll maybe some sounds in the distance. But I think that'll be good because this is going to be all about grounding internally, and the world is always going to be kind of going on without us anyway. So it'll be great practice for that, and that's what yoga is a practice. So if we hear something, we'll just let it be what it is, we'll recognize it, but we'll stay with our breath and stay internal. Let's get started. I'm going to give two options for our opening posture, one for grounding and one for heart opening. So if you'd like to take the grounding one, we'll find Shavasana. So just laying flat on your back. I'll do it this way so hopefully you can see. Instead of having the palms open like we typically would, let's ground them. So palms down and really touching and grounding into our mat and into the earth. If you'd like a heart opener, I'm going to give the opportunity for a fish or maybe even a supported fish. If you have a block nearby, that would be lovely. So you can always take this and you can decide how much opening you'd like. If you'd like to keep it minimal, you'll face the block this way. If you'd really like to get some opening, you can face it long ways. You're gonna place it right between your shoulder blades, making sure it's not gonna come up so high so where it's on the cervical vertebra of the neck. And then I'm just gonna lay back, allowing the shoulders and the arms to just spill over the sides of the block. I'm finding a nice opening. If you'd like that heart opener but you don't have a block, you can just take a regular fish. We're gonna go ahead and ground our palms into our mat, our forearms as well. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, and when you'll do, it's gonna puff up your chest, and then you'll just allow the head to lay back from the mat, reaching back, and then maybe you adjust the arms so that the top of the head is actually coming to the mat. And playing around here. If you've decided to take the heart opener, and if at any time you'd like to change that, you can always join us in our Shavasana where we're going to be grounding. So go ahead and pick your first pose, and I'm going to stay seated as I talk you through it, just so you can hear me a little better. Getting comfortable in whichever asana you've chosen. And starting to really ground. So even if you're taking the heart opener, let's go ahead and draw our attention to every piece of our body that is touching our mat and touching the earth. Maybe if we're in our Shavasana, that's everything, or nearly everything. Our fingers, our hands, the back of our head. If we're in our fish, maybe it's the forearms, the fingertips, the tops of the head, the backs of the calves, and the backs of the thighs. And do a little body scan. And as you identify all of the ways in which you are grounding, we'll see if we can bring even more weight and heaviness into those areas. Surrendering more and more to gravity. Surrendering. Key word there. Surrendering more to gravity as the force. Surrendering more to the gravity of our own experiences and our own situations. The gravity of the situation that may be happening around us, our family, our friends, our community, our country, our world. Just surrendering, letting it feel heavy. Not trying to resist it. We're not trying to fix it in our practice in these next 30 minutes. Surrendering to the isness of it. It is what it is. It's all unfolding around us. And right now, as we come to our mats, we're separating from it just a little and allowing ourselves to surrender. Find your breath. Maybe even allowing it to have sound. Allowing it to build, becoming mightier, stronger, louder with each round of inhale and exhale. Maybe we even connect the exhale with the gravity that we're feeling. I'm starting to surrender and feel even more heavy every time we exhale. Breathing deeply, feeling deeply. Draw the attention to the mind, our brain that is constantly involved with story, and kindly dismiss it. We don't need our mind, our brain, our intellect, not for this practice. Let it go. Instead, let's direct to our heart. So that in our practice today, we're feeling instead of judging, instead of philosophizing, instead of thinking, instead of fixing, we're feeling. Let all of that go. Consult the heart. And as we practice today, we'll ask the heart what it needs before our brain gets a chance to answer for our heart. If you've taken your fish, we'll go ahead and meet our friends in our Shavasana. So remove the block or just coming down to our backs. Pressing the fingertips into the earth, feeling heavy, breathing deeply, feeling deeply. And with the eyes still closed or softened, we'll gently guide ourselves up to a comfortable seat. And you could take lotus or half lotus if those are comfortable for you, or you can just take a nice, easy, cross-legged seat. We'll draw fingertips and thumbs together, and then we'll place them on top of our knees. We'll gaze about maybe 6 inches past the top of the mat. Allow the eyes to soften so they're opened, but just about 70%. Our finger is to our thumbs, just to close off the energy line. We want to focus internally and inward and use all of our energy for us. That's why we've come to the mat today. So allow our hearts and our heads and our bodies and our minds and our spirits and our souls to rest and take comfort. Starting to deepen the breath even more here. Finding that point to gaze. And the deeper we breathe, and the more fixed our gaze becomes, the peripheral and the world around us starts to fade. And maybe one of those deep, even breaths is a little more exaggerated, inhaling for longer. Maybe even holding the inhale at the top for a couple seconds before we take an extended exhale, slowly allowing our breath to seep out of our mouth. And then maybe we do it again, if it felt nice, or maybe we just go back to our even inhales and exhales. And when you feel ready to move, we're going to make our way to a tabletop. Planting the hands over the knees, bringing our knees back to line up over our hips, our wrists are directly over our shoulders, and beginning to move freely. Don't ask the mind, what should I do? Ask the heart what it needs, and move from there. Maybe the shapes are circular, maybe they're square. Maybe you're rolling around on your mats. Maybe you're taking some cat and cow. Breathing deeply. Feeling deeply. Settling into some stillness in our tabletop. When you're ready, take one leg, it doesn't matter which one, and we'll draw it out to a 90-degree angle and take some hip circles. They can be big or large, circling both ways, opening up that hip, but remembering to ground through the fingertips, ground through the knees and the shins and the back or the tops of the feet. Allowing those places to succumb to gravity. And on an exhale, go ahead and plant that leg and we'll return to the opposite. So picking up the leg that hasn't gone yet and finding your circles. You feel nice and even, we'll go ahead and plant both knees. And we'll find a puppy pose. So to get there, we'll go ahead and inhale through our cow. Drop the belly, lift the heart, offering the heart up and away from the hips. And then we'll send it down to the earth, starting to walk the palms away. The heart comes down. You can stretch the arms out in front of you and come up to your chin, or maybe down to your forehead. Or if it's more comfortable, you can create a pillow with your forearms and rest your chin there, or your forehead as well. You get to decide. 2 more big breaths. And on an inhale, we'll begin walking the palms back to our all fours. Then we'll move the palms about 1 handprint in front of where they were, and we'll find our downward facing dog. Tucking the toes, lift the hips, and finding some movement here, moving freely. Maybe you bend one leg and then the other, getting a nice little calf stretch, waking up the hamstrings. You could take some shoulder rolls or shrugs, maybe some twists. We'll be here for about 5 breaths. Ask the heart what it needs. When should I move? When should I stay? When should I ground? When should I play? Breath is staying strong and even and audible. We'll find stillness. Maybe the legs are straight, maybe the knees are softened or even fully bent. And shake the head yes, and mean it. And shake the head no, and mean that too. And on an inhale, we'll take that right leg high for 3-legged dog. Exhale to find our dragon. Our foot will come to the outside of the mat. Toes will turn to a 45-degree. And you can decide whether you'd like to keep that back leg high or drop the shin down. Once we've found where we'd like to be, ground, feel those fingertips and the feet and maybe the shin really digging into the earth, becoming heavy. Once we've grounded ourselves, then maybe pull the heart through. Gaze off the tip of the nose. Maybe the chin lifts to make space for the heart shining through. You could even find movement rocking back and forth on the outer edge of the foot. Breathing deeply and feeling deeply. If you've grounded your shin, we'll go ahead and lift it. And on an inhale, we're gonna bring that left foot to match the right at the top of the mat, yogi squat. Draw the elbows to the insides of the knee, hands come to the heart. Maybe the eyes are closed, maybe you find a drishti that's right in front of you. Grounding through the feet, grounding through the sits bones. And then lifting through the heart. We'll find a lotus mudra. So we're just going to keep the keep the pinkies and the thumbs connected and open the rest of the fingers to create a flower. Lotus mudra, the mudra of purity, self-growth, and openness. Take some deep breaths. On our next exhale, we'll go ahead and ground the hands to the mat. We'll take that right foot to the back of the mat. So now we're in our dragon on the left side. Decide if you'd like to keep that right shin high, or maybe you drop it. And find your free movement here. Following your breath, following the heart. Becoming open in the heart if and when it feels right. And if you've grounded your back leg, we'll go ahead and lift the shin now. And on an inhale, we'll find our three-legged dog. Left leg is lifted. Exhale, plant that left leg down on the mat for our downward facing dog. And then on an inhale, we're gonna shift forward to our plank. Our fingertips are pressing deeply into the mat. We're gonna lower all the way to the mat. So you can place your shins down if you need or stay high. Take a big inhale before you start to lower. And then slowly use an entire exhale to lower all the way down to your belly. On an inhale, we're gonna find our cobra, sending the feet to the edges of the mat. Inhale, lift the heart through. Squeeze the shoulder blades. Elbows are gonna come to the midline. Gaze off the tip of the nose. And exhale, take it down. We'll find that one more time. Inhale for cobra, lift the heart. We're grounding through the hips here. Exhale, take it back down. Take a big inhale, and when you're ready for an exhale, we're gonna find our child's pose. Press back through, knees come to the edges of the mat, big toes come together, forehead comes to the mat, and rest. Take some of your biggest breaths here, allowing the mat to echo your effort right back to you. And maybe you stay right here and just ground. Or if you'd like to move, on an inhale, we'll hold that core in nice and tight to support ourselves and find structure. And we'll find a swan, touching those big toes together. Lift and offer the heart. And stay as long as you'd like. And on an exhale, ground again into your child's pose. Inhale for your swan. And exhale for your child's pose or not. You can stay in one or the other. You can move freely between them. And on an inhale, we're gonna find an all fours again. And then tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. We'll bend the knees and then look between the hands and step our feet there. Inhale, halfway lift. Pull lots of length from the crown of the head all the way to the tailbone. Exhale, take all that length down with you. Breathe into that space. And on an inhale, we'll circle sweep the arms up high. And exhale, drop them down into the heart. Stay here for one big breath. We'll take a balance. So go ahead and find your drishti or your point of gaze somewhere right in front of you. And on an inhale, we'll lift up the heels, both heels, and we'll take the hands up overhead. Maybe your gaze stays there, or maybe you're shifted to look up to your thumbs. We'll find Lotus Mudra again. Pinkies and thumbs connect, the rest of the hands open up. Exhale to lower the heels, and then lower that lotus right to your heart. Gaze down into the palms. We'll take 5 big breaths here, allowing the exhale to come out of our mouth this time, right into our lotus flower. Giving our intention breath and life. After your final exhale, on an inhale, we'll reach our lotus up high. And then go ahead and release it into the universe and take a bow, forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway. And exhale, fold. Shift the weight into the palms and step the feet back to a high plank. We're gonna go ahead and lower, let's go ahead and lower all the way to our bellies. And then bring ourselves up to a nice comfy seat, crossing at the ankles, sitting back on our hips. We're gonna go ahead and take our hands to our knees, or maybe you find our beginning mudra. We'll take the exact same position that we started with. Our gaze can start maybe about a foot away from the top of our mats, but eventually our eyes will become closed. Finding the deepest breaths that you have all practice. Moving internally. Grounding the sits bones. Grounding the palms or the finger and the thumbs together. Breathing deeply. Feeling deeply. I breathe in. I reach. I breathe out. I ground. I breathe in. I speak. I breathe out. I listen. I breathe in. I do. I breathe out. I witness. I breathe in. I achieve. I breathe out. I achieve. Draw the hands to the heart center for our mudra of balance. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. Namaste.